Welcome to Mastering Relationships. Once again, this is Relationship U. I'm going to talk about how to avoid getting ghosted after the first date. I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and I think this is a very common occurrence, especially in 2022. So this is something that people get to deal with a lot, and I just wanted to dive into it, talk about it, kind of get a conversation started, and so that you who's watching can understand what to do and what not to do when it comes to going on a first date and to increase your chances of not getting ghosted. So the one thing to understand is there are some things that you can't avoid in life, and it's not always going to work out. You have to keep that in mind. With that being said, you have to understand that you can also increase your chances by doing certain things, and you can also decrease your chances by doing certain things. So as human beings, we definitely want to do the things we can do to help ourselves, and this will result in a better outcome, right? One of the scenarios that we can't control, but it happens more times than not, is when the girl who you want to date with is using you as a foodie call. I said it. This is actually a very common occurrence in the dating market. So this is something to keep an eye on, right? Because as guys, I know how we can be. We go into the dating market, we're impressed by what we see. We just go in there, we see a very beautiful girl, we want to take her out, and we want to impress her, take her to fine dining. But on the other side, she might just be there for the meal that you're providing for her. You might just be one of her scheduled meals. So, she goes out with you, you have that nice conversation, you're like, oh my God, she's really pretty, but she's just there to eat. And then after the date, you get ghosted. In a situation like this, you can kick yourself all you want, but this has nothing to do with you. The girl was just not attracted to you, and you were basically her foodie call. So that's something to keep in mind. Sometimes it's just because she didn't find you interesting. Now, this is actually also very common. A lot of people find a lot of things interesting, and sometimes the chances that somebody is going to find what you're saying interesting, think about it like this. If you're an engineer and you like to talk about your work as an engineer, the stuff you do every day, how you wake up in the morning, how you work with your machinery and all this other stuff, how you crunch the numbers. Well, I guess if you're crunching the numbers, you're an accountant. But you get the point. If this girl is somebody that doesn't find that interesting, she's not going to find you interesting, especially when you talk about it and you're very passionate about it. So say like me, I'm into sports cars. So when I go on dates, I talk about sports cars a lot because I just love them, It's incredible. And if your date is not into sports cars, then this might result to a conflict of interest, because she's interested in talking about other things like how you grew up, or she's wanting to know you, but you just keep talking about the things that you're passionate about. This can lead to your date not finding you very interesting. Okay, so this happens, keep that in mind, and don't make a big deal out of it. Another reason why we get ghosted is men. This video is for men. Just in case you haven't picked up on that, this video is for men. Another reason why we get ghosted is because there are other guys in the picture, right? Sometimes girls go out on multiple dates with multiple guys so that they can pick which one is the best and then continue going out with that one. And in that kind of situation, most guys are average, right? So if a girl goes out with you and then, her next date is with a 6'6" pro football player, who makes millions of dollars, she might not be as interested in calling you back after that date. So this is something we have to keep in mind and, understand this. You might not know when it's happening, but this is something you have to keep in mind as a man, that this is a possibility of something that could happen. So when you want to avoid getting ghosted, here are a few things you can do to increase your chances of not getting ghosted. Try to be physical on the first date. For example, when you see your date, try and hug her if it's possible. Give her a kiss on the cheek. Not that cheek. This cheek. Give her a kiss. Pull out her seat. Have her, sit down. When you laugh, maybe touch her hands, her shoulders. Show her that you're interested. Show her that you are paying attention to her. Show her that in that moment when you're sitting in front of her, she's the priority in that moment. And whilst you're doing all this, this is going to convey a message that you're not timid, but that you're there and you are actually very interested in her. And this might be something that increases your chances of not getting ghosted. All right. Number 2, avoid certain conversations. Now, I say avoid certain conversations. When I say that, there are conversations that make dates better and there are conversations that make dates worse, right? So when I say avoid certain things, I mean avoid the conversations like politics, right? Avoid conversations like sports. Avoid any conversation that can and in itself can be controversial. Avoid it on the first date. The first date is about having fun and having a great time. So if you know of any conversation that can be controversial, just try and avoid that conversation. The reason behind this is, most times as guys, we want to talk about the things that we're passionate about. And in talking about them, the girl that's sitting across you might not exactly be feeling what you're feeling. So you want to talk about the things that people in general like to do, and this will actually make you more interesting to her. Number 3, just be yourself. It's normal. Just be yourself. All right. Don't try to impress anybody. Just be a gentleman and be yourself. Right. Girls can tell when you're being fake, and because they can tell when you're being fake because of all the effort that you're putting into being fake. This just makes you less attractive because you're putting in a lot of effort into being somebody that you're not. But when you're exactly who you are and you just ooze of this authenticness and this authentic aura is just oozing out of you, she'll probably find that more attractive. So keep that in mind, all right? And number 4, this one is kind of a no-brainer. Do not be a yes man when you're on a date. Because it's one thing that I've noticed, and this is something that, a lot of people have talked to me about, is when they go on a date and they really like a girl, they just start agreeing to everything that she's saying. Because you like her, so everything she's saying now becomes, something you want to agree with. Whilst this might sound like a good idea in the moment that you're doing it, it's probably not a good idea in the long run. Even if something does develop, you're setting a precedent that you are willing to do whatever it takes to make her happy. And in a long-lasting relationship, this might not be the best precedent to set when it comes to getting into a happy and healthy relationship. So, yeah. With the 4 of these things, I think you can, if you invest in yourself and you learn and understand how to organize yourself around these 4 things, I think you can primarily cut down the number of times that you get ghosted after a date. And I hope it helps. I'm going to make the female version of this video because this one was strictly for men. I'm gonna make the female version of this video, and I hope to see you on that one. This has been Mastering Relationships. I'll see you next time.